Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and today I'm super excited to have Karin, the wonderful astrologer. You guys, honestly and seriously, she's one of my favorite astrologers. I consult her all the time. I feel very blessed to have her on speed dial. And Karin, you can check out, I really do. Karin is at littlebluelotus.org, and I'll put all her information in the description of this. And you guys are going to want to listen very closely because she's going to be talking about worldwide astrology, because astrology affects the whole planet. It doesn't just affect the United States. And we've got big themes, big deal. This is really big deal. It's going to affect, I feel like it's going to touch every part of our lives. That's what my spirit guides just said. What Karin's going to talk about today is going to touch every part of your life. So welcome, Karin. Thanks so much for joining me.
Well,
again.
Thanks for having me back, Susan. I love being here with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I love that you talk about astrology, not in so much technical terms. Really, that's what I really love about it, because I cannot for the life of me understand the technical terms of astrology. And so when you start talking about squares and aspects, I just don't even, I've tried. I don't know. It's like a block I have. So Karin puts it in plain English. So this is really going to be helpful for you. If you're watching this video, please check out her channel. She has a YouTube channel, which is Little Blue Lotus Astrology as well. And like I said, her website is littlebluelotus.org. All right, Karin, let's do this. Let's do it. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this because this is when it's all going to change.
Yeah. Well, you've been getting the message from your guides all year, 2023, and now we're here. We're here.
I mean, I don't know that I should be excited, but I feel like I'm excited. I don't know. You tell me. Exciting. I'm going to be waiting. I'm going to be like, okay, what's going to happen?
It is exciting. You know, the biggest news that we've been talking about, but now it's finally here, is the planet Pluto in the sky is moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. And so Pluto is an agent for change. Pluto is, well, let's look at what Pluto did when it went into Aquarius. When it went into Capricorn, right around 2008. We had our first Black president that got elected. We had financial crisis all over the world, especially in this country. People lost jobs, lost homes. It took a long time for everything to get back together again. But the monster, Pluto, there's always a monster and then there's the treasure. But the monster for Pluto in Capricorn was the corporations, was the government, were the oligarchs. Okay.
And the oligarchs. Okay.
Yeah. So the last 25 years of Pluto and Capricorn, those were the monsters. Pluto was starting to show us the face behind the mask, the corruption beneath the systems. And so that's what was going on for us with Pluto and Capricorn. Now that we've got it moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius, that doesn't mean the old monsters are dead. Doesn't mean the old monsters are dead. It means we take our shovel and we move to another place and start excavating. So now we're excavating in Aquarius. We don't know what skeletons we're going to find. We don't know what buried treasure we're going to find, but we have some clues. Aquarius has a lot to do with AI, robotics, technical things, engineering, communication, scientific breakthroughs. And so some of the monsters that we might have with Pluto and Aquarius would be the surveillance of the state. You know, people are worried about surveillance. Big problem, could be a big problem. Another monster would be, it could be AI. You know, we just got through with a few months of Hollywood strikes where the sticking point was AI, because you can feed a plot into a computer and have a movie script come out. You can take a hologram of an actor and not pay them and put them in this so-called new movie that came with a script that no human ever wrote. So there's no energy behind it. There's no human energy. There's no compassion. There's no creative juice behind it. It's all mechanical. So that is one of the monsters that we have to look at and how we're going to solve that. But the financial crisis in 2008. We found out lots of truths about our financial institutions and the banking. The last time we had Pluto in Aquarius was the rise of the Inquisition. The Inquisition, boys and girls, from the Catholic Church trying to oppress the way people thought, the way people prayed, the way people talked. And so the torture and the fear and the paranoia from the Inquisition, that had a lot to do with, that was one of the monsters of Pluto and Aquarius. But at the same time that was going on, we had the rise of universities in Europe. That was free knowledge being disseminated to anybody that could go to the school. The church had nothing to do with it. So there was the monster, there was the treasure. So we're going to be looking for those kinds of things happening in 2024. The beginnings of those things are going to be happening, and we're going to be watching it as it evolves for the next 20-25 years. So the other thing that happened in the 18th century, the dismantling of the theory of the divine right of kings. Remember your history classes, guys, is that the divine right of kings, all those kings and queens in Europe, they believed they had a divine right from God, that some of them thought they were God. So that was the Leo.
Trump thinks he's God. Yeah,
Totally.
right. Okay.
Totally, same kind of thing. The Leo energy, which is completely opposite Aquarius, the Leo energy is that I'm God. I have the will of God. What I say goes. And so, but what's happening in the 18th century was the dismantling of that. We had the revolutions. We had the American Revolution, the French Revolution. The Russian Tsar freed the serfs. So we had both things going on at the same time. Dismantling and the creation of the freedom for power to the people. So interestingly enough, I found out that the United States, China, and Russia all have their moons in Aquarius. Yeah. The moon in a country's chart is a symbol of the people. So we have Pluto going into Aquarius, so it's going to be affecting huge masses of people in the three most powerful countries in the world.
United States, Russia, and China?
Yes, all have their moon in Aquarius.
How do you think that's gonna, what would you think? How's that going to manifest?
I think it's going to, well, you've been talking about it a lot, about how people are going to react to their government. How do they react to the system? How are they reacting to the government and the people that govern them? And then how is the government and the people that govern them going to react to the people?
To the people. So right now the guides are saying, back to what you said about AI, right? So the actors said, no, you cannot hologram me and then use me forever. That's not going to work. And you're not going to just put me out of, so the people stood up, you know, and it has all those same factors, AI, the people,
right.
Self-agency,
the oligarchs that are in charge of the studios. Yeah.
The oligarchs and the serfs. It's you can just overlay this energy throughout these. So something that you said too about the financial crisis in 2008. So do you feel like we could, I don't know that I feel like we're going to have that kind of financial crisis again. Because I think we have some safeguards, but we could have like a mini version of that. How do you feel like the finances might manifest?
Well, I think that Aquarius rules digital currency. So we might see big surges in digital currency or safeguards put around digital currency.
Or both.
Or both. Yeah.
Because you can have the surge and then you have the government come in to say, we've got to put more guardrails on this, or maybe the people get burned and then the government says,
then the regulations come into
the regulations. And I said that in my last video, that they're going to regulate the heck out of crypto. If it stays, I said, if it stays as a true monetary, thing, they're going to regulate the bejesus out of it.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to see your last video, so
It was recent.
good. I'm glad that it's
Yeah,
meshing with
that's
this. That's
fascinating.
awesome.
That is
Yeah.
fascinating.
We've got the other thing that happens with Pluto and Aquarius is there's a lot of data. You know, these enormous computer systems that are generating so much data that humans really can't extract any information out of them, but AI can.
Right.
AI can. So that's one of the more positive manifestations, I think, of the Pluto and Aquarius. In the age of information, which is what we're going into, is that we'll have the ability to extract this information, collate this information, make it meaningful, but it'll be robotics that do it. You know, the other thing with Pluto and Aquarius is the connection that we have with everybody. You know,
Oh,
Pluto,
yes.
one of the things Pluto symbolizes is masses of people. And Aquarius, of course, is the brotherhood of man, which we've been talking about. And so masses of people that are going to be able to connect with anyone in the world at any time, transfer money to anyone in the world at any time. That's a Pluto and Aquarius
I
kind of
just
thing.
talked about that.
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
just talked about it. I just talked about a world currency.
Okay. Okay.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
think they're
God.
working on that. Yeah.
I do too. And it's world everything. It's like the European Union. I can go here and work, I can go here and work. The euro is, or whatever the standard monetary, maybe it's the dollar. I don't know. But I feel like, yeah, there's more connections. At the same time, and I don't maybe you can help me understand why this is doing this, but at the same time, we're going to be strengthening our borders. So there's all these paradoxes. I swear 2024, the theme is paradox. That is what I feel like, because this is true and this is true. Well, how can
Right.
these two things be true at the same time? Because I don't
Right.
like paradoxes. I don't like 72 shades of gray. Just tell
Right.
me what is right, what is wrong.
Right.
And I feel like we're going to be in gray land where the paradoxes, these two things can be true at the same time.
Can be true at the same time.
Personally, that is something I struggle with.
Well, if you look at the energy of Aquarius, Aquarius is the brotherhood of man, including everybody and making sure that whatever somebody has, it's spread out amongst all of us. And Leo, which is the opposite of that, is centralizing all the power into one force, one point, one person. So the paradox is that we're going to be doing things to make other people, to make all of us more free. But in doing that, we're strengthening the central point.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what the guides have been saying. And I haven't understood. They said, you're free. We have too many freedoms, but it's just like our freedom of speech, our freedom, our 2A, our freedom to bear arms. At what point is it too much freedom? Our freedom of speech we may find that we're going to curtail that. So that's very interesting. It's again, paradoxical.
Yeah. Yeah. Very paradoxical. We talked about Russia, China, US, moons.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, really? Wow.
I think, I mean, it may be because it's my ego, but I think the US is going to do a little bit better job with that energy. You know what I mean? We have built, we allow protest, that's part of our constitution to allow people to protest, but not in China and not in Russia. So when those people rise up, it's really going to be a real loggerheads.
Yeah. The repression will be a lot more dramatic. That's what I really wanted to talk about the Pluto and Aquarius about. That starts in January, I think the 20th. It goes back into Capricorn for a few months in the fall. And so it gives us one last chance to take a look at the things in the institutions around us that we wanted to change, that we want to be aware of. And then it goes, okay, bye-bye, moves back into Aquarius. We're done with you for now, for a long time, be hundreds of years before we go back into that again. And so we're into the age of Aquarius, which is really the age of air too. You got to remember that air has so much to do with communication. So all this technology is going to help serve the fact that we could communicate so much easier. and gather information so much easier. There may be, instead of like 5 or 6 ways to make a recording, there might be one way to make a recording, but everybody has the ability to do that.
Okay.
It's big. It's very, very big. It hasn't happened for a long time. Then we've got, in March, we've got a lunar eclipse, and in April, we've got the solar eclipse. So they're in Libra and Aries. So there's a feeling of, boy, it really feels good to let go of this thing that's been holding me back, holding me down. But then the solar eclipse comes and says, all right, now what are you going to do with it? Now what are you going to do with the space that's left?
Oh
So
my gosh.
we
And
we
they're
have that.
March and April, they're like back to back. I mean, they're
Yeah.
like not a lot of time to process.
Right. That's how eclipses will work. If you've got one, the other one's right behind it. So the end of March, we've got the lunar eclipse in 5 Libra, which has to do with partnerships, which has to do with relationships. And Aries, the solar eclipse in Aries in April will be like, Aries is a fire sign. It has a lot to do with wounds that we get maybe in the war of love or the war of life. And so we're going to be looking at traumas and trying to rebalance and heal things like that. Chiron is in the transiting Chiron is in Aries. So this is going to be right on top of the transiting Chiron as well. So all the old wounds coming up. And
When is that? When can I expect all the old wounds coming up so I can buy extra chocolate, donut, and cheese?
Extra chocolate, donuts, and cheese, maybe a Xanax. April 8th. So the 2 weeks coming up to April 8th and the week of April 8th. So
Nice.
what do we have? And the eclipse path, now you look at the eclipse path and it's going across Texas and the Midwest and Mexico. So wherever the eclipse is shining down the brightest is the most potent place for the eclipse. So
Wow.
people think, oh, it's really cool. The eclipse is right over my house. It's like, no, not a good thing.
Can you
wanna go
leave town for a couple of weeks?
You
Does
can
that
leave
work?
town for a couple of weeks, go out of the path of the eclipse. Unless, of course, it's going to hit your chart and you're going to make $3 million. Then you want to stand outside.
Oh, right. Wait. You had a client. That happened
Yeah.
to, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got to tell us that story really briefly.
$3 million. Yeah, this person had a Scorpio sun in the 2nd house of wealth, and Scorpios generally tend to be pretty good at amassing money. And he was looking for a place to put some of his investments. He was an older person, and so he found this nickel mine in Canada that he took all of his money and put it in. And at the eclipse, which was on the sun in the 2nd house of his money, he made $3 million from that in 1 week.
Wow.
From that 1 week, $3 million, a fortune, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, are you kidding me?
So visit your local astrologer, Karin,
See
and
if you
get your chart done. So in case you've got an amazing, aspect like this, you can make the best of it, and you don't leave your home during the
eclipse. Yeah.
the eclipse,
You
because
stand there like,
you want to be there, like bring it.
bring it on.
And you really do want to know, because, like, for instance, I did my event back in Chicago of last year, and it was before I really had her on speed dial, and she was doing a reading for me, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing an event on an eclipse." And she looked at my chart, she goes, "Oh my God, this is great for you. It's like green light, green light, green light, fireworks. This is great." So you really can get a lot of help by doing a reading and getting the transits and figuring out what's going to be good for you, what's not going to be good for you. When is a good time to do this? When's a bad time to do this? It really is helpful. It's been extremely helpful to me, Karin has. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. But yeah, if an eclipse is hitting you in a significant part of your chart or significant aspect or planet in your chart, it'll bring something important into your life. It'll bring something or someone important into your life. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the last time I just wanted to add about Chiron and Aries, and the April eclipses in Aries. the last time we had Chiron in Aries, that was during the Vietnam War. Okay, so Aries is a very warlike energy. So we're going to be watching to see what happens with the United States with this eclipse, with the Chiron and the eclipse in Aries kind of echoing each other for the United States. I mean, we had the Vietnam War, we had the protests, we had violent protests for the Vietnam War, we had draft dodgers.
Yeah.
In the thousands of kids that did not want to participate in this war. And it changed their lives, and maybe not for the better, that they couldn't come back home again. So it may be a turning point in the presidential race. I don't know, if I haven't had a chance since I'm moving, I haven't had a chance to see all your videos, Susan. So maybe you've talked about something happening in April for
We've all
presidential.
talked, all of us, all we can say, because we're not astrologers, is the energy is bonkers in April. Every question is, yes, this can happen in April. Yes, that can happen in April. April is, you know how I describe it? And I think this is Uranian, or I'm not sure, but it's like boom, and then everything changes. Like the lightning lights up the
Oh yeah.
landscape at night, and you can see, and then it's all black again. And
Yes.
everything changes in a
Yes.
blink of an eye. I feel like that could, so I think what you're saying is, you know, that we're picking up on the energy, and it's, you know, it makes sense from the astrology aspect of it.
Well, okay. That is not the eclipse energy.
Right. That's different. Right.
And no, I want to confirm what you're saying though, because that's in the beginning of April. As we move towards the third week in April, that's when we have the next huge astrological aspect that's happening for the world, which is a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction.
Oh, Jesus. That's,
Okay.
sorry. I said that out loud. Jupiter is big. Uranus is like blows stuff
Boom.
up.
Yeah.
So big boom. Okay.
Yeah.
And but this could also be enlightenment I'm getting right now. Like it could be a big enlightenment. It doesn't have to be violent. I mean, we do have Mars, but I feel like it could also be a big reveal, which could be shocking. It could be very shocking. So there's lots of ways that this could play out. However, I would just tell people, I don't see whatever happens in April for whatever astrological, because we have two different kind of things happening depending on the beginning of the month, the end of the month, all kind of things are happening in April. I don't see anything that like January 6th, right? Like I don't see anything completely mind-blowing in a terrible, terrible way, except for I do see shock. I see shock. I see awe. I see really in my chest shock, like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
And it could be, you know, really, and I'm not really a big ET alien person, but honestly, it could have something to do with that. It could be some kind of reveal or some kind of thing. It could be also, I'm getting political intrigue, like we found out that the White House is bugged, right? Or we found out that the Congress is, but you know, some kind of intrigue, political intrigue. It's exposure. It's almost like an exposure of we've been exposed to something.
Right.
This is new knowledge or something. But I guess I would say stay tuned to your psychics you follow, stay tuned to the astrologers you follow, because as we get closer to April, we're all going to be able to get a better bead on this energy. We've all been seeing it for months and months and months, but as it gets closer, we'll really be able to get a better sense of how it's going to manifest.
Exactly. I mean, that's a good 4 months away. So, and things are shifting. They're shifting all the time. But once every 14 years, we have a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, but it's been a long time since we've had a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so to confirm what you just said, that is definitely an up-leveling of our consciousness. You know, and people are talking about the ascension. They've been talking about it for 12 years now. But this conjunction is something that we've been looking forward to for quite a long time. Because as you said, the action of Uranus is to crack something open. It's a radical explosion. And Jupiter is generally benevolent. Generally, it's
Doesn't it
benevolent.
make things bigger? I mean,
It
isn't it
definitely
like,
makes things bigger. Yeah, you have Jupiter running through your first house, then it's hard not to gain weight. If you have a tendency towards getting tumors, Jupiter running through the sixth house of health, you might get tumors that disappear when Jupiter moves out of the sixth house. So yeah, Jupiter makes things grow for sure. And Taurus is generally a peaceful energy. It's the most peaceful energy of the zodiac. It's
oh,
gentle, it's peaceful. So what I'm seeing with the Jupiter Uranus is that it's blowing up for all of us, is blowing and the countries, is blowing up a well-worn path. You know, Taurans like to go the same way all the time. They wear this rut. I like to call it a rut. Some people call it a path, but they make a rut, and the Uranus is going to blow you out of the rut. But the Jupiter, I think, helps make sure that you land in a good spot.
oh, nice. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
why I don't see it being like damaging. I
Right.
just see it mostly being shock and awe.
Mhm,
So will
mhm.
that then have more um energy if you're a Taurus?
Oh, yeah. Taurus or Scorpio or Aquarius.
Okay.
The three fixed signs.
And
Yeah.
that's in April?
And that's in April 21st.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, Uranus breaks chains. It flips the table, that something's really sudden and
I was
radical.
talking
And
about
Taurus
that.
is the ruts. The last time we had Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus, one of those times was the French Revolution.
Yes.
One of those times was the beginning of World War I.
Right.
So world orders changed.
World order. When with the moon in Russia and China and all these things
And
happening.
those are fixed signs. So it's
Yeah.
gonna affect that.
And fixed signs, when you say fixed signs, why is that important?
Because Taurus is a fixed sign. So this activity happening in a fixed sign is going to affect the other fixed signs way more than it will affect any of the other signs.
And fixed signs don't do well with this, like mutable signs or
Fixed signs they're gonna be blown from one path to a new path, I'm thinking. Now, it might just be a thought pattern. It might be a relationship. It might be a job. It might be, ascension.
so so that Taurian energy in the United States,
Mhm.
how how does Taurus energy manifest in like a bigger like a country? What is it?
Okay, so it could be, it could be the landmass, because Taurus is an earth sign. So there could be some unusual climate
Okay.
events going on.
Okay.
Um, because it's Taurus and not water, I would think it'd be more of like earthquakes kind of thing.
Could it be agriculture? Could
It definitely could be
agriculture?
agriculture,
'Cause I'm
yeah.
getting agriculture. So there could be like a shocking revelation around agriculture that then
Yes.
requires more regulations, which I've been
Regulation,
seeing for a year.
yeah. So this is creativity and expansion, but you're right. Anything that has to do with plant-based culture, back to nature breakthroughs, um,
Breakthroughs. It could also be good. We could also learn that there's
absolutely,
a
yeah.
new food stock that we didn't even know was there that, oh, wow, we can eat this and it's really great. Whatever that might be, maybe kelp or maybe some kind of sea
It,
thing. I don't know.
it's a very generous kind of energy, really. I
Okay.
think, I think the, I think the energy with, when we talk about it being part of the land, part of the agriculture, part of the crops, that, yeah, there might be a new technique that comes out that helps the farmers who've had floods or who have had droughts or something. And something that's safe, that's not DuPont.
Right, right. That's not insecticides or
Yeah,
different harmful. It's not harmful. It feels like Mother Earth to me. It feels like that kind of is symbiosis, right? Like we're in
right,
the right pattern.
right, right. So then we move into May, and we've got a lot of astrologers think May is the nicest month of this year because we have a stellium, which is a bunch of planets moving into Taurus, which you remember is a really sweet energy. Taurus is a really sweet, gentle energy. So it's a great time to connect with other people. It's a great time for a trip. If anybody's planning trips, depending on where the Taurus is in your chart, it just generally, but for all of us, it's just a more peaceful, gentle time in May.
Okay, we'll take that.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And in June, we have the big planet Jupiter is going to move into out of Taurus and into into Gemini. So this is going to help support the Pluto in Aquarius. We've got the littlest planet and we've got the biggest planet, and both of them are going to be an air sign. So this is that age of air that a lot of astrologers are talking about. A lot of intellectual curiosity, a lot of people wanting to take classes, whether they're taking classes on YouTube or in school. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a general curiosity about things. What is greater than myself? You know, Jupiter has a lot to do with philosophy and the higher law. So it's like, well, how does my life fit into the cosmos? How does my life fit into whatever philosophy I might be studying, whether it's Buddhism or Native American or, you know, whatever it is? How does my life fit into this system of ideas? And the other thing, though, with Jupiter and Gemini is because Jupiter can be too much of something, so that's too much information. So we might miss the forest for the trees kind of thing with in the summertime. And also it could mean fixating on details and not looking at anything past the surface of things.
Mhm.
You know, we lose interest, we get bored. So we're not, you know, there's not a lot of follow through. So this is going to, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this when we were talking about Pluto and Aquarius before. Deep fakes, capital D, capital F, deep fakes. We're finding out that people can make videos or podcasts or newspaper headlines or newscasts that are completely fake.
Yeah.
The
Using
person
somebody else's face, using a celebrity's face and make their mouth move to say the words.
Right.
Deep fake, F-A-K-E, you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a big deal. So that's also going to be part of this AI thing, I assume.
Yes. Yes.
And part of discernment, and that's going to be
Yes.
big in 24. See,
Yes.
so that goes back to regulations, right? Because the guides are saying, well, then we're probably going to have to put some regulations in that says that this video has been encoded with something that can be checked. We've got to create some kind of way to be able to really trust our news. My God, we don't even trust our news anymore.
No.
Which imagine if somebody got me and started saying that I was pro something that I'm not pro. You know what I mean? And you would come to me and say, Susan, my God, I didn't know you felt that way. You know, what's going on? I'm like, it wasn't me, right?
That wasn't me.
And you know, that can be done to local people, but think about, you know, big politicians and presidents, kings, queens, judges.
Yeah.
It's really going to wreck. It's going to disentangle and dissolve our society in ways that we never knew.
Right.
Everything that we take for granted is we're going to realize we've been taking it for granted because now it's a question mark.
I think it's part of where the United States unrest is going to be coming from for the election, you know, because people on the right and the left are having trouble trusting their sources. Whether they're into conspiracies or not, there are a lot of people that are really skeptical that weren't skeptical 4 years ago about what was going on.
Yeah.
So we've got that going on. And I thought it was interesting. I found out that this is the only thing I know about it, but I know that California is starting to teach classes for children on how to spot fake news.
I saw that. I thought, whoa.
That is way
We
cool.
absolutely need to do that. And honestly, the
Mhm.
southern states probably should be doing it.
Oh,
Hopefully that'll gain,
big
you know,
time.
the whole country. We need to educate, but you know, it's not in their best interest, right? It's not in their best interest to have an educated electorate.
No, it hasn't been in the best interest since, actually, I think it started right after the Vietnam War. I think
Johnson, I heard Johnson when you were talking.
yeah, because guys, think about it. The university kids were the ones that were protesting the war. The university kids were the ones that were causing the upheaval in business and in politics and camping out on the White House lawn and literally caused Johnson not to run again for president. So they decided, well, we got to put the kibosh on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want smart people living in this country.
Right. We want controllable. We want people we can
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. Yeah. But the first half of the year is packed full of stuff. And the second half is packed full of stuff too. Lots of changes, lots of good changes, lots of let's watch out for this, you know.
Duck.
Yeah, duck, keep your helmets on. But I think for the most part, as I mentioned when I was on the show the last time, I looked at the chart for the United States in 2025 because everyone's so worried about what's happening this in 2024. We were looking at this last year. And I thought, well, if America was my client, and I'm looking at 2024 for my client, I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to tell this person? All right, let's look at 2025. Let's see what happens when the dust settles.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And that's what I did. And I talked about that on your show. And I said, 2025, we've got some wonderful aspects going on that show me that we're rolling up our sleeves and we're getting things done and we're working in the right direction. And that can only happen if the Democrats win big and the right Democrats are winning big.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that to me shows me that the universe has our back.
Right. Because if we're doing well in 2025, then that means that we did something right in 24.
Exactly.
And so this basically what you talked about covers basically the first 6 months of this year.
Yeah.
And we're going to do part 2 where she's going to cover the second 6 months of the year. But yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot here because you know how I do. Yeah. So no, I'm your client. I'm the United States of America and it's 2024. What's your best advice for me?
Okay.
24
for 20
or the first half of 24, whatever.
Okay. So I would say that we have to stay calm. We definitely have to stay calm. We have to stay centered. We have to know who we are and know who we're not. Because now we're up to the line where we have to make those choices. We've been making a lot of noise about, who we are and who we're not. And some of us there have been some elections in the past few years that have been showing the trend moving in the right direction. But now it's like, okay, are you going to hide or are you going to come out and make your voice heard, whether it's on the street or at the ballot box? And I would say to be centered and to be clear and have your intentions clear and strong. I think that's the most important thing for Americans in 2024.
So if you have your wits about you, you know what you're about. Mm-hmm. You're also not likely going to fall for that disinformation. You're also likely not going to, even if you fall a little bit, you're going to recover pretty quickly. You're going to think twice before you fall for that deep fake video. And so your advice is everybody just stay centered, grounded,
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay.
I have some neighbors that are constantly calling me going, well, Karin, this congressman just, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is. It's in Iowa somewhere. It's like, just everybody calm down. We're looking at the big picture. We're looking at the energy, the big picture, and the little things are building to the big picture, but don't get caught up in those because it exhausts us. When we're not confident, when we're not balanced, when we're not centered, it's exhausting. And we need our strength. We have a lot of good things to do in 2025.
I feel like it's already in progress. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like this movie has already been filmed
Mhm.
last year. And this year it's going to play and you're not going to affect it anyway. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, you are going to vote. We're all going to vote. You're going to vote for, you know, you're going to vote for everybody in your town. You're going to support everybody that's running. And I really want you to do that. I want you to
All
really
the local
support them
judges. Yeah.
because these local people are putting their lives at risk in some respects, right? So,
Mhm.
hey, you know, show up to the rallies, buy them a pizza, you know, buy them a cup of coffee, support them, absolutely support them.
Mhm.
People, I think, take me the wrong way when I say you can't stick your head in the aquarium water to see the fish. You've got to be on the outside of it and look at it through the glass.
Right.
You're going to put your head in there. It's not going to help anything.
Right.
I'm not saying you know, totally abdicate your responsibilities as a citizen. I would never say that. I just got my voting card. Okay. Look, I vote. So I would never say that. What we're saying is this is a marathon. And if you're trying to sprint through a marathon, you're never going to make it. Pace yourself, take good care of yourself. And I just want to say, because this is super important, if you can get on Karen's schedule, she's going to be booking for March. If you can get on Karen's schedule or the astrologer of your choice and figure out what's coming for you, you can be in a place of power. You know, you can say, okay, you know what, this, you know, Karin told me, and I'll never forget it because I'm the kind of person I've always had a lot of energy, you know, like I'm usually drive people crazy. And Karin told me last year, well, I don't know if you're a nap taker, but you will be after this, you know, because I'm having my second Saturn return. I'm telling you guys, I'm like, it's 3:00. Boom. I'm like, what is going on? You know, and Karin told me if you would think something's health wrong with you. And
Mhm.
she's right. If I didn't know that, if I didn't know what Karin told me, I'd already been to the doctor going, I don't know what's going on, right? And had a bunch of, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor either. I'm just
Mhm.
saying Karin can really help you. And the other thing I just want to say too is I'm doing a lot of videos about soul purpose. And the other reason I really, really enjoy Karin's readings is because she does the astrology from the aspect of spirituality and from the aspect of a soul purpose, which
Mhm.
is extremely helpful. Do you want to talk about that at all a little bit?
Sure, sure. That's what I really love to do.
I know that's
I've
your
had
jam.
I've had the training uh of classical astrology, well, the Western astrology. I've had the training. I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I tried doing I couldn't figure out why I kept looking at people's charts and trying to find something behind the planets. And it turns out that that's what I was trying to do even when I was a baby astrologer back in the 80s and 90s, and I was trying to find that. So now that I have found my niche, I've leaned into it, and it's like it's opened whole new things for me that opens all these new things for my clients. I can look at a struggle that a person's having in their life, and I can see the past life where it might have happened. And if I can explain that to the client, their understanding of themselves and their journey opens up. And so the troubles and the pain, I think, seem a little less painful. They seem a little bit more of something that goes into a context where it's like, oh, I'm not stuck here. I feel stuck. I felt stuck, but now I see where this came from, and now I can see a way out of it. So that's how I do my readings. And if somebody wants me to do a regular astrology reading, I can, but it's hard to adjust the vision to those. I'm really enjoying the way that I'm reading for people, and the feedback I'm getting is that they're just thrilled with that kind of reading.
I'm thrilled with it. And so that's one thing you can do. You can get the soul journey reading. She does your natal chart. So you need to know your birth time. You need to know where you were born. Do you do that thing? What do they call that when they figure out, they have a name for it, reclamation, something,
The rectification, that
rectification.
rectification of the chart, if you don't have the birth time, there is a technique called that. it's very tedious and time consuming because it takes major events in your life and tries to fit them into where your moon might be or
That's
your
how that
rising sign might
happens.
be. Yeah,
I
that's how they
didn't
do
know
that.
that.
And
Okay.
it's difficult, it's time consuming, and it's probably really expensive because it takes so much time. It
Okay.
takes a lot of time talking to the client. Well, tell me when you got married, tell me when you got sick, tell me all that
And
stuff.
then you match all those things up because you know the date they were born. So
Right.
now you're working with 24 hours. So you're trying to figure
Right.
out, okay, this makes sense with this planet. This makes sense with this aspect.
Right.
So that I never knew that's how you guys do that. But it is possible if you don't have your time of birth, it is
Right.
possible to have that created. But if you do have your time of birth, then you're golden.
Yep.
Get on Blue Lotus, littlebluelotus.org and
Mhm.
get on her schedule because especially if you with the eclipse coming,
Yeah.
it's either going to be positive, negative, or no effect at all. And you
Yeah.
want to know which.
Yeah.
I've already been to this school. I went to this school last year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know ahead of time whether you want to duck, you want to open the door and run out.
You want to get 8 million, $3 million, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and is there like an aspect on your chart that says that you might be like a lottery kind of person?
That's a tough one because you might have the aspect where, oh, money's coming, but your karma just says you find a $20 bill on the sidewalk, you know?
We had this conversation before we started recording. My thing was you're on the airplane. Are
Mhm.
you in coach? And Karin says with the chickens and the goats. And I'm like, that's not my coach. My coach doesn't have chicken, but that's my point. You're on the airplane, everybody. It's up to you to decide. Are you in first class drinking champagne? Or are you in the chickens and the goats? Because apparently she has a special compartment. That wasn't mine. So, yeah, your karma, right? So if you have a natural aspect in your astrology that says, oh, like I didn't know this. I wish I had known this, but I have an aspect where I'm pretty lucky with real estate. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
I didn't know it until I was way, way, way older. But, if
Mhm.
you know these things and you believe in yourself, again, you're on the airplane. It's up to you. You're going to be in first class. You're going to be with chickens and the goats. That is up to you. So how you utilize these aspects to make the most of them is
Mhm.
all about the karma or what she's saying, how you feel about yourself, are
Right.
you worth
And
it?
how much work have you done on your attitudes?
Yeah. 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 Woo! So you guys, I hope you liked this video. We are going to do part 2 where we're going to talk about the second half of the year. It was just way too much to do in one video. And let me know what you think in the comments. And if you have any questions, Karin will jump in the questions probably the first day or so. If you like, wait a minute, she's usually pretty good about jumping in and answering your question. Obviously, you can contact her on her website and ask her questions directly. She has a YouTube channel, and that's also Little Blue Lotus, right?
It's Little Blue Lotus Astrology. Yeah.
Little Blue Lotus Astrology. And I'm encouraging her to be more active on her YouTube channel.
Oh.
She's got a lot going on in the first half of this year, but you know what? And this is psychically by June, this woman is going to be on fire. So I'm telling you guys, and in a good way,
Ooh.
in a really good way. So, if you like what you saw on her today, go ahead and book a reading. Cause I think by July and August, I'm not even sure she's going to be anywhere near being able to get a reading with her. this is what I'm seeing. And that can be scary. So sorry, Karin. It's like, oh no, I don't. Yeah. But it's all good. It's all good.
All
We
good.
have a beautiful environment, a beautiful group of like-minded individuals. And I am thrilled to have Karin here with me. Thank you so much, dear.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Susan. Always. Thank you.
All right, everybody. You guys take really good care. Get your charts out. You can get a free chart online. You can just put in your birth date and get a free chart. And you can watch this video and look at some of these aspects and try to figure it out for yourself, right?
Mhm.
There's all kinds of ways to do this. All right, everybody, take really good care. I'll see you guys real soon.
Bye.